Hey guys, Janine the Machine here, and it's time for another study session. Thank you guys for my dollar plus patrons for sending me a bunch of questions. They helped me study for the Schmoedown, helped me learn more about movies, and it actually helped me kind of discover some movies maybe I've never seen before that I might want to check out, and movies that I love that I haven't seen in a while that I want to revisit. So thank you so much. I got a ton of questions from Jay Burns. Thank you very much for that, and William Belford. So thank you guys so much for sending me the questions. I'm gonna answer them if I know them. If I don't know them, I'll talk a little bit about the movies and what I learned. I did a little bit of research on, more questions I might get asked about them, director, year it was released, stuff like that. So thank you guys so much. Here we go. First question is from William Belford. Thank you so much. He asked, name the movies from these iconic objects: swing line stapler, leg lamp, Heart of the Ocean, Rosebud, and Origami Unicorn. So I knew this one. I knew all of these. The first one, of course, Swing Line Stapler, is from Office Space. Have you seen my stapler? Love that movie. Hilarious. Directed by Mike Judge and came out in 1999, I believe. Yes, 1999. Really funny, great movie. One of my favorites. Second item was the leg lamp. That is from A Christmas Story, of course. I've never really seen this movie like from beginning to end. I've always just seen basically this movie through the TBS marathon that comes on every Christmas. So I've seen a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit when it was coming on at a different time. So I've just seen it bits and pieces through it being marathon on TBS, but I've never actually sat and watched the movie all the way through. But the leg lamp is a very iconic item, so I knew that for sure. Christmas Story came out in 1983 and directed by Bob Clark. Next item is the Heart of the Ocean. Of course, that is from Titanic. Everybody knows that. Very iconic. My heart will go on and on. Yes, of course. Everybody knows about the Heart of the Ocean. Titanic, directed by James Cameron, and came out 1997. Okay. Thank you. And next item is Rosebud. Of course, this is from Citizen Kane. Now, I feel like I'm just a snob and I just won't see this movie out of spite because everyone is just lauds this movie as the greatest movie of all time. So now I'm just kind of like, well, you're telling me it's so great and I have to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. But of course, it's on my list. I'm eventually going to watch Citizen Kane. But of course, you know the twist by now. Everybody knows what Rosebud is, even if they haven't seen the movie. I was actually at a film discussion with Jesse Moulton and Leonard Moulton, and they actually showed the trailer for this movie. And so I thought it was really cool because I don't think they were doing that very much at the time, showing trailers and previews before your movie. So it was just really cool. He did this whole behind the scenes talking, introducing everybody to the cast members and all of this stuff. And I thought it was really cool. So that actually makes me want to see the movie a little bit more. Citizen Kane, I believe it came out in 1941 and it was directed by Orson Welles. Yes, 1941. And the last item is the Origami Unicorn. And that is, of course, is from Blade Runner. I've never seen Blade Runner. I started it and I kind of got bored and turned it off. And I still haven't seen Blade Runner 2049 because I don't want to watch that movie without seeing the original. So I'm still going to try to get myself to watch the original, even though I did find it a little bit boring to start. So it's going to happen eventually. But yes, of course, very iconic. One of those things where you don't need to really see the movie to kind of know elements of it. But yes, so directed by Ridley Scott and came out in 1982. Okay, so that's the first question. Thank you so much, William. And now Jay has sent me a ton of questions. Thank you so much, Jay. Jay Burns sent me the question. Joan Crawford starred in movies in 1931 and 1947 of the same name. What was the name of both of these films? I had no idea because classics are not my forte. And the answer was Possessed. So I looked at both of these movies and they actually kind of looked very interesting. The 1931 movie, I believe, is about like this working class girl. She works in a factory or something and she meets this rich lawyer guy and she falls in love with him, but he's not looking for a wife. He's only looking for a mistress. And then the other one is about this lady who's just kind of wandering LA in a catatonic state, and then she finds herself explaining her whole story to a doctor, telling him how she got there. And I kind of like stories like that where somebody's narrating the whole story to a person, because I feel like, they're talking to me, they're telling me their story. So both of these actually sounded like really interesting classic movies that I might want to check out. So thank you for that, Jay. Another question I got was also from Jay. He asked, what was the name of the actor who played the Chief in 2009's Fanboys? Now, I heard of this movie, but I've never seen it. I'm a fangirl, not a fanboy. So, yeah, I never saw this movie. And the answer was Danny Trejo. I love Danny Trejo. He pops up in everything. I like to think, you know, he has his own little universe. Like, you just see him sometimes where you don't even expect to see him. Like, I loved him popping up in Anchorman. I watched Anaconda the other day. He was like the Drew Barrymore of Anaconda. I used to watch Young and the Restless. He popped up on there as like a bartender. So Danny Trejo's everywhere, and I love that. Fanboys, he did say, it came out 2009. So thank you very much, Jay, for that question. Oh, and it was directed by Kyle Newman. Next question, also from Jay. What was the name of the villainous bear in Brave? And we aren't talking the name of Merida's mom. So, I did not know this one. Brave is not really one of my favorite Pixar films. I was not a huge fan of it. It just didn't capture my attention. And the answer was Mordu. So I don't think I actually would have even remembered that. So thank you, Jay. This movie just didn't really stick with me. But it came out in 2012. The voice of Merida is Kelly McDonald. So I figured that might be something that I might get asked. So thank you. And next question from Jay. What comedy film stars both Brad Majors and Janet Weiss? I had no idea. I hadn't even really heard of those people. So the answer was Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is a movie I've never seen. It's also on my list of movies to watch. Came out in 1957 and directed by Jim Sharman. Next question. What was the name of Kevin Bacon's character in Animal House? Now, Animal House, also a movie I've never seen. And definitely on my list to check out. I think the only things I know about that movie is the whole toga scene and the whole I'm a zit and Jim Belushi, you know, punching the mashed potatoes and the big food fight and all that. So that's kind of all I know about that movie, but definitely on the list. So thank you, Jay, for putting all these movies, reminding me of things I need to watch. Animal House came out in 1978, directed by John Landis. Let's see. And the answer was Chip Diller. Let's see. Next question from Jay. This film features, this first feature of what director was filmed in black and white, starred Sean Goulet, and the board game Go? Had no idea. And the answer was Darren Aronofsky. The film was called Pi. So I've heard of this movie. I'd never seen it, so I would have not had any clue. But definitely a movie to check out. I do like Darren Aronofsky's work. Still haven't seen Mother, though. Kind of worried about watching Mother, but I'll get around to it. Let's see. Next question. What movies did the band The Ramones star in? So Jay is totally stumping me with these questions, which is great because I'm just learning, so thank you. And it was Rock and Roll High. I've never seen that movie. I've heard of it. Came out in 1979. And it has an uncredited directing credit for Joe Dante, which is kind of interesting. Next question. I knew this one. Thank you. Finally giving me one I know. Jay, what was the name of the child star in the 1961's Parent Trap? And that's Haley Mills. I really love the original. I feel like it's just as good as the new one. I loved the twinning effect of her was actually done really well, especially for the time. Maureen O'Hara was gorgeous. A lot of fun. I love that the new one actually did a lot of callbacks, like the woman who plays Vicky in the original is actually the mother of the mean future stepmom in the new one. So I love little nods like that. It's great. Yeah, Haley Mills. Next one. Oh, this was tricky. How many flowers were painted on Boo's door in Monsters, Inc.? I thought 5 at first, but then I thought, oh, they might want it to be symmetrical, so they might want it to be like an even number, so then I said 6. But the real answer was 5. So, yes, definitely something to remember. Monsters, Inc. And I don't think I looked up what year that came out. So, if you guys know, let me know. Yes, Monsters, Inc. Let's see. Next question from Jay. What gum company does the man who investigates the small ride in the quick stop at the beginning of Clerks work for? I had no clue. I've only seen Clerks once, and it's not even my favorite Kevin Smith film. My favorite Kevin Smith film is Dogma. I just guessed Wrigley's, but the answer was Chuli's gum. So I definitely need to go back and revisit Clerks. Came out in 1994, directed, of course, by Kevin Smith. Okay, next question. Also from Jay. Who was the originally cast as the voice of Marlin in Finding Nemo? It had to step away due to scheduling conflicts. I had no idea. Turns out it was William H. Macy. That's kind of some fun trivia to know. I could see him doing that, but Albert Brooks definitely burned into my brain as that character. I think he did a perfect job. So I'm glad it worked out how it did because Albert Brooks did great. Finding Nemo, 2003, directed by Andrew Stanton and Lee Unkrich. Fun fact, I actually made some cocoa cupcakes. Me and my coworkers made some cocoa cupcakes for our work movie cupcake competition, and we were shoo-ins to win. We did so good. I sent them to Lee Unkrich, a picture, and he actually loved them, said they looked great, and that we were winners in his book, and we actually didn't win. But Lee Unkrich gave us the nod, so that was enough for me. Anyway, next question. Memento was nominated for which 2 Oscars? I had no idea, so I just guessed director and screenplay. So I was close. It was screenplay and editing. So thank you for that, Jay. Memento actually came out in 2000, of course, directed by Christopher Nolan. Let's see, next question. According to the Academy rules, how long must a film be to be eligible for feature film? I did not know. I didn't even have a guess. So, yes, the answer, I guess, is 40 minutes. That's it? That is considered a feature film? That's interesting. I would think it would at least have to be maybe like an hour is maybe what my first thought would be, but 40 minutes, okay. Thank you, Jay. Next question, what is Austin Powers' middle name? Now, of course, I knew this. I had a crush in 7th grade who used to say his middle name was the answer Danger. So Austin Danger Powers. So, of course, I remembered that one. And I just kind of looked up a couple things just to make sure, I knew, because I feel like I could get asked a lot because this is from a franchise. So the first one came out in 97, and the subtitle is Austin Powers International Man of Mystery. The second one is The Spy Who Shagged Me, which came out in 99. And the third one is Goldmember, which came out in 2002. Yes, 2002. Yes, okay. And they're all directed by Jay Roach. Next question. In what movie will you find Anthony Hopkins playing a character named John H. Kellogg? Now, I thought that sounded really familiar to me, but I didn't know it. So when I got the answer, I was like, oh no, I've never seen that movie, so I'm not sure why that sounded familiar to me. But yeah, so The Road to Wellville. Definitely a movie I need to check out. Came out in 1994 and directed by Alan Parker. Next question from Jay. What Tarantino film opened in an airport? I knew this one. It was Jackie Brown. I just kind of have this picture of Pam Grier in a flight attendant outfit, so I knew that one right away. Definitely probably my least favorite Tarantino film. This was kind of the last one of his I'd seen. Like, I'd seen pretty much all of them except this one, and I watched it recently. And while everything is great, the dialogue's great, the performances are great, the ending is so anticlimactic. It builds up to this moment, and then it just ends, and you're like, that's it? Like, I love his movies for the dialogue. Like, I love his dialogue. Like, it's not boring. And they're talking about mundane, everyday, silly things and debating silly things that you would debate with your friends, but he makes it feel so relatable and interesting. Like, I want to be in that car talking and debating with these guys about whatever they're talking about. It's just so interesting. I love how he can do that. And this movie had all that. But, sorry, my dog is creeping at my door. And it had all that, but just wasn't... the ending just wasn't great. It just kind of ended like blah. So not my favorite movie, but I did remember Pam Grier looking good in that flight attendant suit. So I was like, it has to be Jackie Brown. So got that one right. Next question from Jay. Name all three of the Three Amigos' full first and last names. Now, I'd seen this movie once years ago, but how can you not remember this awesome comedic trio of Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short? Definitely a movie I need to go back and revisit, because I mean, I've only seen this movie once and years ago, but it's a movie I love the premise of. It's like so fun, you know. It's kind of like Magnificent Seven, if those guys didn't have any abilities to fight and they had to figure out how to fight. So I really love the idea of this movie, and it's just been so long since I've seen it, and I'm sure it's still really funny and holds up really well. So definitely a movie I want to go revisit. Another John Landis movie directed by him and came out in 1986. So thank you, Jay. Another question. In what 1980s movie will you find Seth Green playing the nosy, nerdy younger brother? Rom-coms are my thing, so of course I knew this one was Can't Buy Me Love. I love this movie, love seeing dorky ass Patrick Dempsey going from that to now being, you know, McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy. Just a fun movie, and I love that they even gave like the cute popular girl, she had her own issues and problems, she wasn't like completely perfect. Just a really great fun 80s teen movie. Definitely think Seth Green's, you know, and he was hilarious in that movie, like when he gets, you know, he gets farted in his face, and when he realizes that his brother's dancing to like the African tribe dancing and he's just laughing his ass off. He was a really funny little brother. I think he needs to hook up with the little sister, the annoying little sister from, what movie is it? Oh, Some Kind of Wonderful. They need to hook up. And then they all need to go hang out with Shannon Doherty, who is the little sister in Girls Just Want to Have Fun with the young Sarah Jessica Parker. So I think I do good at 80s teen comedies, maybe. Yeah, so that's the first set of questions I got. I have a couple more questions. I will probably do that in another video. So look out for that. And thank you guys so much for all the questions. I learned a lot. Love you guys, and thank you. See you soon.